In fact, the school-age population, persons age 5 to 13 that drive the elementary numbers, the number of those kiddos has still continued to go up, even though the enrollment in the district has started to fall. But the more interesting thing about this to me is if you look, say, west of Greenfield Road, there isn't a big pattern here. There isn't any one school, there isn't any one grid in the western part of the district where you can say this school is underperforming compared to this school. It looks pretty much random to me. So, and that's what makes doing projections much harder these days, because it used to be if I knew how many students lived in an area and I can project that very well, then I would know what the enrollment was. But with the inflow and outflow, because of charter schools and open enrollment with other districts, it's added an extra factor in there, which isn't really mine to project. Again, you have your smaller schools, Gilbert and Mesquite, but those areas actually both, even in the trend scenario, do gain a few students over the next 5 years. So if you looked at 2014 versus 2020, the enrollment in those two schools are basically exactly the same as they will be 5 years from now. And let's kind of skip back and forth here, but in the stable capture rate, those numbers are somewhat higher, and you do get a growth of about 140, 150 students in those two attendance areas. Not only has the single family activity rebounded, almost up to where it was before the recession, we've layered on top of that all of this multifamily. So, in terms of total construction activity, we're ahead of where we were even prior to the recession. So there are definitely still things happening out there. You got the household school-age population we're projecting. Goes up a little bit, goes up by around 2,000 students over the next 10 years, school-age population. If we held it stable, if we stayed in the 80s, which is what this chart shows, then we could end up with a gain of around 800 students. We can very, very accurately project the school-age population in the district. We've got all the data in the world to do that with. How many of them choose to come to you are what we're talking about. And that ratio is not in my crystal ball. It's not in my data set. The rest of that, the school-age population, I've got strong data behind.